Okay, today we're going to learn the basics of Microsoft Excel, and we're going to do that by completing the assignment you see on the board. We're going to do a little bit of internet research and discover the one-day ticket prices of 5 different amusement parks, like Disney World or Six Flags. We're going to put that data into an Excel spreadsheet, and we're going to have the program calculate for us the total price to visit all the parks and the average price of visiting the parks. And then finally we're going to make a quick graph of our results. Okay, so let's get to it. Microsoft Excel is another one of the programs in the Microsoft Office suite. So I'm going to go to Programs, Microsoft Office, and Microsoft Excel. Okay, this is the basic layout of Microsoft Excel. And what it is this is a spreadsheet. It is a combination of many different cells. Each one of these little boxes is a cell. And each cell can be found using coordinates like D5 or E9. And the good thing about Excel is if we put information into these cells, it can do many amazing things for us automatically. Now our challenge for today is to find some information about some theme parks. Okay. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and set up my spreadsheet. So up here, I can change the size of my cells just by clicking and dragging. Right here, I'm going to put
students and staff.
So I put theme park up here, and my theme parks will be listed down this way. And in my B column, I'm going to list ticket price. And it looks like I need a little bit more room, so I'm going to drag that over. Okay. Time to go to the internet. I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to go to Google, which is always a good place to start with some research. And I'm going to start doing some research. And all I'm going to type in is Disney World ticket prices. Okay, let's click here and see what we find. Oh, well that was easy. For Walt Disney World, for ages 10 and older, one day is $87.33. So I'm going to go back into my spreadsheet. This theme park is Disney World, and my ticket price is $87.33. Now I'll continue to do this. Keep in mind that a lot of the theme parks aren't operating right now because it's the winter. So sometimes you won't find ticket prices. So if I were to go and search for, let's see, King's Dominion, which is one that I went to a lot when I was a kid. And it's going to say something like this: check back soon for 2011 pricing. So right now they don't know what the prices are going to be for the new year, so obviously I can't use King's Dominion. Parks, I'm going to suggest Six Flags, Disney World, Disneyland, Great Wolf Lodge, Busch Gardens, anyone you can think of. Several of them might not have ticket prices, but just keep at it. Do the best you can. I'm going to pause my video, and I'm going to go and find this information myself, but I don't want you to have to sit there and watch the entire time. So I'll be right back. Okay, so obviously what I did is I went and made up some theme parks and some prices. That way you guys have to, I can make sure that you guys go and find your own information. Obviously you have to pick real places and find real ticket prices on the internet. Okay, so I have my 5 places. First thing I want to do is I want to sort of format this thing and make it look a little bit nicer. My headings, like theme park and ticket price, I should make them bold and maybe even make them a little bit bigger by clicking here. So I'll do the same thing right here. Bold. And that makes it easier to tell that those are the headings. Then I'm going to highlight, by clicking and dragging, all of my information. And I have this button up here called Border. I'm going to click on the little arrow next to it, and I'm going to tell that I want it to have all borders. And that makes it a lot easier to see what belongs to what. Okay, now, here comes the cool part. I'm going to skip a space. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to do total. Because in this cell right here, in B8, I'm going to have the total price for all of those parks. But before you go and get your calculator out, I'm going to show you how to make Excel do the work for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on B8, where I want the information to be, and I'm going to type in equals. And it shows up here in this formula bar. Whenever I start a formula, which is when Excel is going to calculate a value for me, I have to begin with equals. And what I'm going to tell it is I want it to find the sum, and I'm going to do an open parenthesis, and I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to highlight all 5 of those values. And it's saying that it's calculating between B2, which is this first one, and B6, which is the last one, and I'm going to press enter. And you can see that Excel went ahead and did the work for me. The cool thing about this is if I go and I change one of the values, let's say I was wrong and Mr. Jones's Wacky Wonderland actually costs $66.99. Watch what's going to happen. The total automatically updated when I changed this. It went up by 10 the same way that this price went up by 10. Now there are other ways I could have done that. I could have simply said equals this cell plus this cell plus this cell plus this cell plus this cell. That would take a little bit longer, but it gets the same result. So when you have a formula, you can do sort of any sort of typical mathematical calculations, plus, minus, multiplication, division, no problem. If I wanted to go in here and change this to multiplication, my answer is going to become obviously much, much bigger. So I'm going to go back to the way it was. I'm going to tell it I want it to be the sum of all 5 of these. And my next one is I'm going to do an average. It's going to work pretty much the same way. Click on B9. I type in equals every time I want a formula. Type in the word average, open parenthesis, and I can go and highlight all 5 of my values. I can press enter. Okay. Of course, another way to get the average would have been to get the sum and then divide that by 5. So let's make sure we have some good parentheses in here. Oops. That's not what I meant. And that also gives me the average. So you can do it 2 different ways. You can actually put in like that, or you can just simply say average of all of these. So now I have my total and my average. I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of these and click my border button again, so they're part of my spreadsheet. Okay, and for the final part, I'm going to use Excel to make a quick graph, and this is really cool. Would save you a lot of time. I'm going to highlight that information. I'm going to leave the total and the average off because the total is so high. It's really going to throw my data off if I put it inside my graph. So I've highlighted this data, and I'm going to go up to Insert, and I want to insert a column graph. So I click on Column, and you can pretty much choose whichever one you like. I like the 3D column, so I'm going to click that. And just like that, it puts my information into a column chart or a bar graph. Up top, I can change the way it looks. I have a few chart layout options up here that I can play with. But just like that, it made me a chart that looks nice and professional. So hopefully you're starting to see the power of Microsoft Excel. It's one of those programs that if you know how to use, you can put it on a resume, and your employer will be very impressed with you. Thanks for watching.